And let's get more on the implications of James Comey's leaking with prosecutor Elliot Felig. Elliot, the president, firstly, let's start with that. The president saying that he will testify.
Right. That kind of caught me by surprise. I mean, given the president's preference up to now for communicating via tweet and doing things in a more informal, celebrity-like manner, but the president seemed very determined, and he will have the opportunity to do that. I'm sure Mueller's investigators, they'll probably want to get their other ducks in a row, as Dan alluded to, but at some point I could see them questioning him under oath. Absolutely.
All right, let's go back to the Comey thing, because, as you said, that was probably the biggest bombshell of the testimony. What are the legal implications of Comey having leaked these memos?
Well, I mean, it was a bombshell to me because, Comey presents so much as a straight shooter, by the book kind of guy. And this, even to people who say it's perfectly legal, it's a little nefarious, a little shady to leak it through a third party. That being said, the defense is that he would assert, number one, the information wasn't classified. Number two, he would say that the president, in effect, had opened the door to this by tweeting about it, and so he had information to get out there. He would make the claim that, look, no one would argue if the day after I got fired, I sat at my laptop in my living room and generated memos containing this information. No one would say that's illegal to then share that with third parties or share that with the media. And so he would say, well, this is the same thing in essence, that the import comes from the information and not from the memos.
But that was a government document. He wrote it whilst he was an employee at the FBI.
Right.
And some legal analysts are saying that at the very least, this violates his employment agreement with the FBI that laid restrictions on what kind of documents you can keep after you're being fired and what kind of documents you can reveal. There's certain procedures that he broke there. The very obvious one is that he kept a government document, whether it was classified or not.
Right, and along those lines, if an employee under Director Comey or under any FBI director had similarly taken notes of that were generated through work product and shared them with a third party, or intentionally shared them with a third party who was going to share them with the media, that'd be a fireable offense under Comey or any other director.
But because he's already fired, does it have any weight, any consequences that can happen?
With regard to the internal regulations, yes, that ship has sailed. He's already been fired. But look, it does raise a more serious issue also. There is a criminal act called conversion, and people are prosecuted for conversion when they take things from work, including sometimes documents, and convert them for personal gain or for personal use. That being said, conversion is usually prosecuted more for things of pecuniary value or things like trade secrets or things that are classified. Again, he would defend this by saying what I'm really sharing is, in essence, information. Yeah, I generated it on a work computer on work hours, but in the end, the import, the essence, the power of this comes from information, and I can share information, especially after the president tweeted about this information. That'd be the defense.
An interesting argument that we heard from an unlikely source, Alan Dershowitz, who is an open Clinton supporter. Very quickly, he says that the president was in his constitutional authority to fire him, that it's not an obstruction of justice regardless.
Right. And look, Alan Dershowitz is someone I have tremendous respect for. He focuses rightly on the statute's wording, and it says it's not enough to simply interfere or influence the administration of justice. You have to do so corruptly. And that implies things like in Watergate, where you had witnesses given hush money. You had people, you had tapes erased or other evidence destroyed, fake evidence created. So the mere statement of, it would be nice if you could let this go, does that rise to Watergate? In Professor Dershowitz's mind, it doesn't, because he focuses on that word corruptly.
Well, certainly a lot more to the story. Thanks so much, Elliot Felig. And coming up, how the president plans to build new highways, bridges and dams faster, plus all the latest headlines from our headquarters in Tel Aviv, right after this.